Hello everyone and welcome to Sewing Saturdays. My name is Gina and today we're going to be working on this drawstring bag. I am sorry I didn't made a video last Saturday, but unfortunately I wasn't feeling well, so I wasn't able to actually record the video. So we're going to start with the measurements for this bag. I hope you like it. It's really good for kids in general. As you see, it has a pocket here. And goes crisscross, so you can really use it this side here, also this side here. It's fairly easy, so it's great for beginners. Okay, so I'm going to give you the measurements. I'm going to be using a different fabric because this was my sample that I made. So I'm going to put this one here to the side and we're going to start with the measurements. So I'm going to be showing the measurements here, as you see, as I have written here, but I'm going to go through it with the pieces as I show it to you. So we have here 2 pieces for lining. So I chose this floral one, and my pieces measure 14 by 16. So 14 is the width and 16 this way. Then I'm going to need, for my main, I'm going to need also 2 pieces. And it's exactly with the same measurement. So it's going to be again 16 and 14. Okay, this one, as you see, it's directional, so make sure the 14 piece, your design, whatever you choose, is facing up so you don't end up with the bag upside down. Then for my pockets, my 2 pockets that I have here, this one here, it's literally one pocket, but because it goes crisscross, I'm going to need 2 pieces. So what I'm going to do on this one, we're going to also need 2 different colors as I use here. I use this one here and I use this color here to contrast. So I picked this one here for one of them, and I did exactly the same thing. I cut it 16 by 14, and for the other pocket, another 2 pieces, again 2 pieces, same measurement, 16 by 14, and I'm going to show you how to cut the angle so you end up with the piece like this. Then we're going to need, this bag, as you see, has 2 tabs here and here to hold your strings, and those are, the pieces are 8 inches, a little piece of 8 inches, and so would be, let's put it here, so it would be 8 inches this way and 2.5 this way. Okay, and for my top, where my strings are going to go in here, as you see here, where my strings are in, I'm going to cut 2 pieces of fabric, and I chose this one here. And these 2 pieces are 4 inches this way and 14 this way. Okay, so all your pieces that you're going to need for the bag are cut and they're ready to go. So we're going to start on the sewing process. This is also a very easy project to do and very good for beginners, also for fat quarters or even pieces that you have sitting around. Okay, let's get started. So first I'm going to start with my pockets. So I'm going to put these little pieces here to the side. I'm gonna get my 2 pieces of pocket, and the size that I have, 16. Okay, so the 2 pieces that I have here, I'm gonna put them wrong sides together. Okay, and I'm gonna get a ruler and a cutter. And another thing I would like to mention, these rotary cutters, they can be dangerous. So I know my last video I forgot to close the cutter several times, and if you're a beginner, really be careful because you can really cut yourself. So try to always close it every time you're done with it. So so let's go back to this part here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna count down from the top here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I'm gonna put a little marking here on the 9 inches. in one of the sides. So since I'm gonna cut it, so I'm not gonna worry too much that I'm doing with a pen. So then I'm gonna go here from that to this tip here. I don't know, let me push down so you can see a little bit better. From, so 9 inches down, and I'm gonna go here to the tip here, and we're actually gonna cut that off. All right, and so you end up with a piece like this. Okay, so you're gonna get your other piece that you have here, that's gonna be your other pocket that I have here. And now you have to do the opposite, because as you see, they have to crisscross. So if I cut this one this way, what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna cut it this way. So now I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna put this here again. So this one is cut this way, so I need to cut this one this way. So I'm gonna take here, I'm gonna go to this side, and I'm gonna cut 9 down. So 9 inches down. So I'm just gonna use the ruler, and 9 inches is over here. So now I'm gonna go here to here, from here to here to this tip again, and I'm gonna cut that down right across. These 2 pieces are extra, so I'm gonna put it here to the side. So now what you're gonna do is, you're gonna take this to the sewing machine. You're gonna turn them to the other side, so with right sides together, like that. So you're gonna put right sides together here, and you're gonna sew it here. Okay, so get a couple pins, and I'm gonna use a 1/4 inch seam allowance here. Right, and I'm gonna sew those. Oh. So I'm gonna do the same to this one that I have here. So I'm gonna right sides together, and I'm gonna take these to the sewing machine, and I'm gonna sew them across. Also, while I go to the sewing machine, I'm gonna prepare my tabs. So I have my tab here. I'm gonna put these here because these are ready to sew. I'm gonna fold them here. So I'm gonna get my tab that I have here, and it's 8 by 2.5. I'm gonna fold this in a half like that, and I'm gonna do a seam here. Again, a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So we're gonna fold this and just sew here. Okay. Also, while I'm in the sewing machine, I might as well do all the pieces that I need to sew on this step. I'm gonna prepare the 2 pieces that's for the top, for the strings up here, that, as you see, where I'm gonna feed my strings. Okay, so what I'm gonna do on these, I'm gonna fold about a 1/4 inch down, and then fold it again, and then sew that. So 1/4 inch, let's see if I put this so you can see a little bit better. So let's see, a 1/4 inch, okay, a 1/4 inch, and then sew that. You're gonna do that to all 4 sides, this side here, this one here, and this one here. So I'm gonna do all of that, go to the sewing machine and sew it down, and I'll be right back. So I'm back. So I sew my pocket pieces. So this one here, this one, as you see, they had, one was cut that way, one was cut this way. So 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then you're gonna take it to the iron and iron it flat. I already did that. I already ironed my pieces. Okay, so then one goes like that, one goes like that. Then the piece that we did for the tabs, we need to turn this inside out. So a safety pin is perfect to turn this out because it's small. There's obviously tools out there that you can buy, but a safety pin does the same job and is less expensive. So then what you're gonna do, you're gonna iron this. Okay, you're gonna iron it and cut it into pieces, 2 pieces. So gonna fold it and cut it into pieces. Okay, then one is gonna be for one bag, one for the other. The other one also, for the top where the strings go, the 2 pieces, I also sewed, I double fold both ends. Just make sure when you do this, when you actually do this, make sure that they end up the same size. Right, so your measurements are equal when you fold it. Okay, then you're gonna take it to the iron, fold it in half. So we'll start now putting the bag together. So we're gonna get our main fabric. We're gonna put it here. Okay, I'm probably gonna put it this way so you can see better maybe. So facing you versus facing me. So this would be the bottom of the bag. This would be the top. So you're gonna grab one of your pocket pieces and I'll put it like that. I'm gonna even them out. Alright, like that. Then the other one on the other side. Okay, you're gonna grab your tabs. Also, you're gonna have to iron mine, but you're gonna get your tabs. You're also gonna put it here, I would say about a ½ inch from the bottom, and you're gonna pin it there in place. And on the other side also, about a ½ inch. Probably better if you measure. I'm just eyeing it right now, but you can measure just to make sure you have the same measurement from the bottom up. Also gonna secure it here with the pin. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and I'm going to secure this in place. Here, this side, here, the tabs and the bottom. I'm going to go really, really close to the edge, maybe even less than a ½ inch, just to secure it in place. Can even be like a basting stitch. And if you don't know what a basting stitch is, it's you increase your stitch length all the way up and then you sew it that way, because if you need to take any stitches out, they're a lot easier to take out. But that is just to baste it. It's not a stitch that will hold anything because it's a lot bigger. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the sewing machine and do that. Also, the next step that we're gonna do is, I'm gonna fold this so you can see better, is now attach the piece for our strings. And this, we have to find the middle. So you fold it in half and find the middle, and spin is no good, so put it here, a pin in the middle, and the other one the same thing, and of course on a raw edge that you're gonna find your middle. Right? Then this part here that we have here for our front, you're gonna also find the middle. So I'm gonna fold it like that and find my middle here, and I'm just gonna slightly crease it. So I have my little crease here. But 14 would be 7 and 7. 7 this way, 7 that way. That would be your middle also, if you would like to measure instead. So I'm gonna go here, and where I have the pin, I'm gonna put there with the middle. All right. And I'm gonna secure this in place. I'm gonna get my other back piece for my bag. And again, I'm gonna make sure the design is setting it like it's side up, so it doesn't end up upside down, because this here will be the bottom of my bag, so I want this to be up. And I'm gonna find the middle here of the top, so I'm gonna crease that, and I'm gonna go here where I already found the middle here, and when I'm putting that is the raw edges together, and I'm gonna put that there and then pin it there. So I'm also gonna take this one to the sewing machine, and I'm gonna secure it in place. So I'm gonna sew from here to here, just in place, really a basting stitch or just a regular stitch, but close to the edge, because it's just to hold it in place right now. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the sewing machine and do that. So I'm gonna secure all my pieces in place, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and I secure all my pieces in place. So this is gonna be my pocket, this part here from my strings, that's my back piece, the part here from my strings, sorry, probably was out of frame. And my back, the same thing. This is the part that's to go, the strings go in it. So now we're gonna put our bag together. Okay, so for this part, what are you gonna do? You're gonna actually get your lining. Okay, you're gonna get one pieces of your lining. You're gonna put, let's do one by one so you understand. So I have my lining here and the back piece. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna put these two together, and I'm gonna sew a seam across here. And here I'm actually gonna use about a 1/2 inch seam allowance. That's my back. Then I'm gonna get my front, and I'm gonna do the same thing. So I'm gonna fold this down, as you see, and the tabs are already attached also here to the sides. I'm gonna get my lining piece, right sides to right side again, and I'm gonna put on top of each other. And again, this is my top. This is my top. We're gonna put this one right sides together, and we're gonna do a seam across here. So I'm gonna do that, I'll be right back. Okay, so I sew one back piece to my front piece, and you end up with a piece like this. So this is my front, I put the back on top, sew the top, and I end up with this with the tab in the middle. Then the back piece, the same thing. I have my back piece with the tab for the strings, and it ends up like that, and this ends up in the middle. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this one down on top of my front. I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna match my seam here on the sides. Okay, I'm gonna put some pins here just to make sure my seam matches. So the best way is go through the seam, find your other seam through, and pin it. I'm gonna do the same on this side. Okay, just make sure your tab, well, it's not probably gonna catch your tab anyway, because there's enough seam allowance here. That's about 1/4 inch, probably a little bit more, maybe about a 1/2, I would say. Okay, but I'll be using a 1/2 inch anyway, so we'll be okay. So again, you get this one here, match this seam here, the fabrics, and you're gonna put a pin. There we go. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna sew this all the way around, 1/2 inch seam allowance, and we're gonna sew. We're gonna start here on the bottom, and we're gonna need to leave an opening here for flipping it inside out. So I would say about 3 inches should do for opening. So you're gonna start here. Let's see, around here, you're gonna go this way, up, past your seam, all the way around, all the way this way, that way, all the way again until you end up here. Okay, so until you end up here. So you're gonna start here and end up here and leave a 3-inch seam allowance to flip inside out. If you're not comfortable, if you're new at sewing, put some pins. Make sure your fabrics are even in place so they don't move for you. I use quite a bit of pins myself because it just helps me to keep my fabrics together so my lining and my outside fabric don't move. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the sewing machine, sew that around, and I'll be right back. So I'm back. I sew all the way around, as I mentioned. I left an opening here. Just gonna cut some of these strings. And I always sew, as I mentioned in other videos, out, because when I need to sew this on, when I flip this the other side, my fabric already stays folded, so it's easier to do my closing. So I'm gonna go here. If there's any strings, just trim everything off. So that's what I'm doing now. Then I'm gonna cut my corners here. I'm actually gonna trim them off. This one. And this one. And then I'm gonna turn it inside out. So I'm gonna put my finger in, and I'm gonna go to the farthest end. So I'm gonna push that through the hole, and then it should come out pretty easy. So if you turn your bag out like that and you don't see the tabs for the strings, it's because you need to flip the pocket, your pocket here, you need to flip it to the other side. I've made that mistake before, and I think I messed up on the tabs, but I didn't. It was because it stayed inside. So if you see, if I go like this, it's on the right side, but the tabs, it's inside of my pocket. Okay, so if I take my pocket to the other side, there's my tabs. All right, just want to mention that just in case you think you did something wrong and you don't see those tabs. There we go. Okay, so now put the lining inside. Okay. You're gonna iron it or press it quick a little bit around, and I'm gonna do a top stitch here. After I done the top stitch, we're gonna measure the strings. Okay, and for my strings I'm using, that's why I didn't give you a measurement, because I'm gonna show you how to measure the strings for the bag. So I have this this string here that's a lot of stores sell it for bags. You can get that in a lot of the fabric shops. So what do you do to measure the size of your strings? You go here, you measure 1 time the top, 2 times the top, 1 time the side, and 2 times the side. Then you cut it here. Put a knot so it doesn't fray, and put a knot. You're gonna need 2 pieces the same size. So I'm gonna need 2 pieces the same as this. So I'm gonna go here. Since I already cut one, I'm gonna cut now another one exactly the same length. So I'm just gonna use this one to measure. And I'm gonna trim it here. Again, do the knots. There we go. So I'm going to take this to the iron. I'm going to iron quickly, do my top stitch, and then I'll show you how to pass the strings and finish your bag. So I'm back. I did my top stitch. Top stitch, I always like to increase my stitch length to about a 4. I like a bigger seam. I like the look better, so it's not so small. Now I'm going to show you how to put the strings. I use this little tool that I have here. Some stores sell it. I don't know how common it is to sell it. Normally it's the pass elastic, but I really like it because it's very narrow, so it fits in a lot of places. If you don't have, of course, you don't need to have one of those. You can use a safety pin, put it through and pass the string through the bag. So I'm gonna use it here, one of the pieces. So just put it through here. It's gonna go all the way around, past this part here, and it's going to end up where you started. Okay. Okay, there you go. Even them out. Okay, your other one. Okay, so I have 2 ends here. I'm going to get the other one, and I'm going to start on this end. Same thing, goes through here, passes this part here, it's gonna pass and go through the other side. So I have both evened them out. Now I'm gonna pass them through my tab here. So go there and there. I'm gonna do a knot here. A bigger knot here, but I don't want this to pass through, so I'm gonna take this tab to the sewing machine and just fix this a little bit. I'm gonna take this tab to the sewing machine, and I'm gonna sew a seam close to it here, so this, when you pull, it will not come through. This is still gonna be loose, but I'm gonna sew it fairly close to the strings, so then this stays put. And I'm gonna do the same to the other side. Your bag is pretty much done. If you want to stop here, it's done. After you sew that, it's done. I like this side here to be a little bit different, so I'm going to go to the sewing machine. I'm going to pull my strings down, and I'm going to measure about 3/4, I would say about 3/4 of an inch down, and I'm going to do another seam. So when I pull my strings, my top ends up like this, because I like that look better. So I'm going to do that to mine. Again, like I did on this one here. As you see, I did another seam there. So when I pull, this ends up like that. Okay? Again, you don't have to. You can leave it this way, and your bag is done. You also can decorate your pockets. You can get buttons, ribbons. You can attach little here for, it will be quite cute. You can add tons of things to your bag to make it a little bit different. Thank you for watching today's video. We'll see you next Saturday for another tutorial. Happy sewing, everyone.